A common advantage listed by the average PC gaming enjoyer is the indie marketplace. Indie games are obviously getting much popular now thanks to the success of titles like Hades and Baldur's Gate and Escape from Tarkov, and when I was in middle school and high school there were big indie games like Super Meat Boy and FTL. But obviously there's way more than just the ones you hear about in the mainstream, and the connection between the indie market and the PC gaming world should be pretty obvious. You know, when a gaming platform isn't owned by a single corporation like the consoles all are, it means anyone can make a game and distribute it through any number of ways, which leads to really awesome, experimental, and often technically incredible games that simply couldn't exist in a more corporate setting. While it's great that the more marketable indie games often find success on the consoles, the PC will always be the indie developer's best friend. But this also means there is a pretty massive disconnect between the average console gamer and the average PC gamer as to how indies are perceived. See, if you're a console gamer through and through, your gaming experience is inherently curated. You will only ever play the games that Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo deem as being worthy of sale, and that leads to certain misconceptions about what makes a game good or bad, or really what makes an indie game an indie game. I'm sure you've all seen tons of people be like, oh, indie games are just the, retro games, colorful, simple pixel art games. That's what an indie game is, but no. And there are so many indie games that are incredible games that I just never would have played back in the days that I was a purely console gamer. When I was younger, I never would have played a game like Binding of Isaac, but here I am like 6-7 years after playing it for the first time, and it's still one of my go-to comfort games. And yeah, that game is on consoles now, which is a good thing. Every game should be on as many platforms as possible. But my point should be clear, and if it's not, then it should go without saying that without the PC gaming indie world, we wouldn't have games like Ultra Kill, or Arma, or DayZ, or Valheim, or Disco Elysium, or Escape from Tarkov, and the list just goes on. An indie game can take any form, have any graphical style, have any gameplay loop, all because it's not beholden to a list of corporate backers who need to make their money back or someone's head's getting sliced off at the next financial meeting. But as I said before, the corporate nature of console gaming can lead to some unfortunate misconceptions about the indie sphere, and that leads us to today's topic. So the other day, this thread managed to get on my feed, and I couldn't help but talk about it because the first post really made me think that OP was just gonna get roasted off the internet for being such a ponce, but then when the replies started making things worse, I had to accept that God had just handed me another golden video topic. So Guapzilla posts, y'all really got 4090s to avoid AAA games and play indies? That's crazy stupid. And he attaches a screenshot of Sebastian Altonen saying, haven't played many modern AAA games in the past years, but Alan Wake 2 is so far the best looking game I've seen. Runs nicely with ray tracing and max quality settings too, on 4090. Screenshot looks bad due to Windows screenshot doing bad HDR SDR conversion. I always find it funny when people decide to screenshot someone's tweet instead of quote tweeting them, especially if they're going to be insulting them like this or talking shit, because like, oh man, you sure are a big guy for wanting to talk shit about someone without them seeing it. That sure is bold. But also, the funniest part of this, and I actually found this while I was editing the video, you click on Sebastian's profile and oh, he's a dev. Yes, let's talk shit to the game developer for having a 4090, you fucking moron. But that's not the bigger problem with the video. So reading this original post, it should be obvious that this dude is a fucking airhead. He seems to think that indie games are, graphically undemanding, or that a 4090 is like, oh, why do you have a 4090 for those indie games? Which is just a ridiculous idea to have on its face. Some of the most gorgeous and realistic looking games of all time are indie games, and many of them are incredibly demanding to run. Escape from Tarkov comes to mind. Ready or Not comes to mind. The upcoming Unrecorded comes to mind. Regardless of how you feel about that game as a game, it looks fucking unbelievable. Also, not sure if you want to count this, but modded Minecraft still blows my mind with how far people are able to push that thing. But this idea that a high-end GPU is like being wasted on indie games and not playing AAA games is just stupid. It's stupid. And it reeks of someone who's never played anything other than AAA cinematic action games and, whatever else Sony and Microsoft tell you that you should be impressed by or that you should be respecting. Anyone who knows anything about indie games and just gaming as a whole should know that this is a really bad take. But a rather shocking number of people saw this take as an opportunity to also scream out to the world that they also only play and respect AAA games. And yeah, I'm gonna make fun of all of you, because holy shit, how much of an entitled twerp can you be? This is literally like buying a Bugatti only to go to work. Like, why the fuck did you even buy it only for indies, lol? Again, aside from the fact that some of the most technically demanding games and most breathtaking visuals can only be found in indie games. Not that I expect someone agreeing with the original post to understand that. Like, I don't know how we're still in 2023, almost 2024, good lord. And there's still just this widespread misconception that indie games are all like retro graphics, or they're not technically demanding games to run. Like, yeah, a lot of indie games are like that, because a lot of indie games are made by, you know, small studios, or like a handful of people, or just one people. And obviously when you have less manpower, you're going to try and, you know, make things as easy as possible for yourself, which means a less demanding graphical style. But are we still just ignoring all of the ridiculously technically demanding and impressive indie games that have had insane success in the PC gaming sphere for the last like decade or two? I'm old enough to remember when the most popular game on this platform was PUBG. Like 6 years later, are we still trying to go off with this idea that indie games aren't demanding to run? But also the biggest problem with this is literally like buying a Bugatti only to go to work. Well, why do you have an issue with people buying things they want? Someone bought a thing and you don't 100% agree with everything they do with the thing? Ugh, what a doofus. Or as this guy says, what a dumb ass. Yes, this is an actual comment in response to the original post. OP starts talking shit about a game dev having a 4090 and liking indie games, and your response is what a dumb ass. Gosh, gee willikers, I wonder why AAA gaming has gotten so oversimplified in the last few years. Someone unironically going by Ninja says, mental illness, imagine owning a 4090 and playing only indies on it, couldn't be me. 99% of the games I play on my 4090 are AAA games. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these weirdos. And then OP responds, they're basically looking for reasons to undercut Sony. Shit's ridic. I don't get this. What is wrong with not playing a lot of AAA games? What's wrong with that? Like, this is insane. You're saying someone has mental illness because they have a 4090 and they don't like AAA games that much. I hate to break it to you, but a lot of AAA games are really samey and repetitive and overly concerned with graphics over gameplay. So like, yeah, it shouldn't be weird that someone doesn't want to run out and buy every new AAA game. Like, in the modern gaming world, that really shouldn't be that weird of an idea. AAAs are just getting really repetitive for a lot of people. And there's just this gigantic, huge market of indie and AA games just like waiting for you. It's just waiting for you there. Go play them. They're great, they're unique, they're original, they have all these great ideas. But apparently, if you have a 4090, even if you're a game dev, it's mental illness to point this out. This is ridiculous. And then OP coming in here saying this is, they're just looking for reasons to undercut Sony. Having a 4090 and not liking AAA games, you're just trying to undercut Sony. What is this? What am I looking at? Is this really what, like, discourse around gaming has turned into? Just a Dude says the rig is more important than the game to a lot of these dudes, and the fucking irony of you having a Spider-Man PS4 profile picture, or Spider-Man PS5, I can't tell. The rig is more important than the game, coming from a PlayStation stan. A PlayStation stan is now throwing shade at people for allegedly caring about hardware more than games. I fucking cannot. 1876 Corn Pops. Every once in a while, there's a name that's like, oh fuck, you have the worst take imaginable, and I want to make fun of you, but god damn it, your name. 1876 Corn Pops says it's the PC Master Mook way. Pikmin 2 at 300 FPS, bruh. I love this. It's like, okay, where else can you get that? I want to play Pikmin 2 at above 30 FPS or above 60 FPS. Where can I do that? Ah, yes, only the PC. And I'm on PC. Yeah, I have the money for a 4090. Might as well get a 4090. Like, this is such a not weird like flowchart of things, and you're just like, heh, these fucking PC Master Mooks. It's like you're just describing being a person. Like, you're just describing a completely normal train of thought to have. If you want to play older games and crank frames on them, you get a PC. And if you're a PC gamer, there's a chance you're gonna want a nicer graphics card, not because every game that you play is going to take advantage of its power, but because when the time comes that you do want to play a game that takes advantage of its power, you can. This isn't weird. This really isn't weird. I don't get this. They all lying their ass off. They play AAA games on... You put a 5 instead of a T in the word they. How do you do that? They play AAA games on low, but get on this app and across all sanctimonious. what? Ugh, this whole thread just gave me brain disease. It gave me brain disease and it rotted my brain. Why is it so hard to understand that not everyone is going to like AAA games? The AAA games are getting really, really simple and are getting really streamlined and are also getting increasingly technically lazy. Like, why is it weird that people who play on a not corporately owned piece of hardware, the PC, why is it weird that those people have been looking for alternatives to AAA games? We play on a platform with the biggest indie marketplace, the biggest AA marketplace, we have the biggest selection of games. Why is it weird that we're playing things other than AAA games? Why is that strange? Why does that hurt your feelings? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand the animosity towards indie games from certain people in the console gaming sphere. But it's really fucking sad and extra fucking pathetic when you consider the fact that without the indie gaming sphere and the AA gaming sphere, all those AAA games that you like wouldn't have anyone to steal ideas from. Doodles.